Very much, Peter.
Cheers.
Is Russell?
We've got
Great.
Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce, come on up. Oh, nice. Great. That's okay. Do you want to just turn the microphone on down? Yep. Perfect.
Pleasing to bring you the final financial report, the annual report for the 23-24 year. A very good operational result. Looking at section 3 of the report, just in summary, the forecast that was at about 12.5 in May improved significantly to 20.4 at the end of the year. The reasons were largely an extension of the existing variances that we'd reported throughout the year, so again, no real surprises. And those variances have largely been covered in the LTP, so where there's been ongoing variances, for example, rec and sport revenues, the rates, subvention receipts, obviously you've dealt with as part of the LTP already. The variances were largely, or the forecast, the actual variances, largely revenue related, and that's shown in section 4.4 of the report. In terms of the surplus, section 3.3 of the report outlines a recommended or suggested / recommended way of dealing with that. Section 5, which relates to capital, capital spend ended up 31 million more than was forecast previously. Carry forward schedule, attachment C, outlines the movements, particularly noting that 36 million has been pushed into 25-26. So that probably needs to be looked at as part of the 25-26 annual plan in terms of whether some smoothing or changes need to be made there. Capital revenues 13.9 million higher than budget after carry forwards for the year, so a good result, largely relating to DCs. Overall, and I'm down at 5.9, section 5.9 now, overall opening borrowing 7.5 million higher than what we'd forecast in the LTP, although potentially that will be offset by dealing with the use of the operating surplus. There's a series of recommendations in the report largely relating to carry forwards and the treatment of the operating surplus that's been achieved.
Great. Well, I'm happy to move these. Jake's happy to second them. Are there any questions? It's Yanni and then Tyler.
Yeah, thank you. I was just trying to get my head around the strategic planning and policy favourable variance. We're told there's a $2.7 million due to lower personnel costs and reduced professional advice expenditure. That's just on page 51. And then it says professional advice savings mainly relate to the PC14 works, which were paused pending advice from the ministry. While the works have now resumed, the delay has reduced the total spend in the current financial year. I guess I was just trying to get my head around the cost of that project. And we've had the memo, but we've also been told that doesn't include staff costs. And we've also seen through the IHP a number of comments around work not being sufficient. So I guess I'm just trying to understand how we read that we've got a budget saving, yet we've got more work that's needing to be done and an unknown quantum of staff time going into it that's impacting on that other budget.
Maybe I've misread what they've said, isn't it? Because there's a high number of vacancies and we've carried forward from the previous year some money. But you guys might want to answer it. But.
Yeah, so Plan Change 14, there has been, so in the context of the team that has led a lot of the work on Plan Change 14, there's been a number of vacancies which we've been unable to fill, and that's contributed to some savings. The other key point is that the Plan Change 14 hearings were due to be completed at the beginning of this year. They were delayed as we awaited the response from the Minister on whether council could pause its Plan Change 14 process until MDRS became optional. However, the response did result in the hearings resuming in April, which was later than what was expected. The majority of the costs for Plan Change 14 were within the financial year ended. There are some costs that have rolled into this current financial year now, namely the costs of the independent hearings panel, which were previously foreseen as being in the last financial year. We do have budget within this financial year to cover those costs, but in addition to the memo that was circulated, there is a subsequent response that has been prepared, and I'll share that with councillors today around the breakdown of consultancy costs and the cost of the hearings panel for Plan Change 14. But overall, we've been worked within the budget for that.
That's great. Very, very clear. Great. So that's been moved and seconded. All in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much, Bruce.